Let's make a pork roulade. Here I just scrounged up some ingredients that I like to have with pork. Some mushrooms, an onion, a clove of garlic, some pecans, some stuffed olives, a mixture of dried dates and cranberries, a few twigs of rosemary, and of course our pork loin. First I'm going to soften my bernaz or small diced onion. Then do the same for our mushrooms. Mince our fresh rosemary. Partake in some pecan therapy. Now let's dice up our dried dates and cranberries. We can't forget about the stuffed olives. These happen to be stuffed with feta. If I had some stuffed with blue cheese instead, I probably would have used those. So this is how my pork loins came out of the package. Let's go ahead and cut the tapered ends of the loins. Of course, save those cuttings for something else. At this point, you should inspect and remove any silver skin. Unlike I, who just got carried away. We want to cut down the center of the fattiest portion, a little over 1/4 inch from the cutting board. Then we will tee off on both directions. so it will unfold somewhat like a pamphlet. You can take your time here and kind of feel your way through it. Feel free to make relief cuts as needed. Soon we will tamp it down to level it out even further. Now let's cover our pork loins with some saran wrap before we level them out. Select your Bam Bam tool, a mallet, a spoon, or bottom of a pot. All are sufficient when beating your meat. We're not trying to tenderize or anything, we're just trying to flatten it out. Although sometimes, some things do need more convincing. I put a nice layer of salt and pepper before we add our filling. Now let's spread our filling. Now let's somewhat tightly roll the pork up so we can create that beautiful pinwheel. At the end of the roll, we want about 1 inch of meat touching meat so we can get a nice seal. It's time to truss our pork roulade. Grab our cotton twine. Here I soaked mine in water for a little while beforehand. Take one end of the pork and tie it using a square knot. Take several inches of twine, make a loop with about a 1/4 twist, slide it under the pork about 2 inches from the first one, then pull it taut. Make another loop with half a twist and slide that underneath the pork a couple inches from the last loop. And repeat.
Until you have to flip it around, and then take your half twisted loop around the other end of the pork. Put another box knot at the end.
Then you have a trussed pork tenderloin. Becky! Help!
What have you done?
Look, and, we're just gonna cut this. Literally, physically, can you cut? Take some wet string. Take one end of your pork loin, wrap your string around it, tie a knot, and then wrap the string around the entire length of the pork loin at diagonals. And then when you get to the other end, just wrap it back the opposite diagonal and tie it back at the end. Cut the excess off. Now you have a tied pork loin. Let's go ahead and preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's season the outside of our roulade and brown them in a pan. We want to brown all sides before it goes into the oven. There's our pork roulade with a nice beautiful pinwheel.